What's up, guys? This is the GOAT Cast, and this is a little extra video I was going to do. I've always wanted to do a tier list, and I've done it. As you see, I've already filled it out because I did like a 40-minute tier list video, and the audio was just destroyed. So I don't want to go back through and try to do all that again. So I'm going to go through and show you who I put where. As you can see, my tiers are the GOAT 5, which this is the GOAT Cast, so that is my top S level tier. We have the elite tier where these guys are your elites. These guys can get you into just them alone can get you into the playoffs. Basically, you don't need that extra superstar with you. You could have some decent role players, but you could alone take over for that team and at least get you into that 8-7 spot. Superstar level are those guys that they can do the same thing, but just not. You might not make it to the playoff if that person is just your main guy on this court. And some people might be shocked by some of them that I put in here, but yeah. So that's what these guys are. And the role player list doesn't mean that they're basically a role player. These are guys that if they are your main option, you're going to struggle a little bit. You're probably not going to be a 1 through 6 team. They might can get you into the play-in tournament, and that's a big leap. So that's how I determine these tiers. And so this is going to be a lot shorter than it was. Like I said, it was 40 minutes. I went through each player and put them where they were. So I just said, I've got the complete list. I still want to put this out there. If you guys want to see me do the NBA GOAT list, which will have, Jordan, Bill Russell, all those guys, if I can just get 10 likes, I will do that. And I might live stream it. I might do it live. So if you guys want to see that, please like and subscribe, and we'll do that later. But I just having fun with this. If not, that's fine, because this was fun too. These are for the 2022-2023 season. This isn't for past accolades. This isn't for what they did just in 2 games or what they've done during the playoffs. This is for the entire season. Some of these players didn't play a lot this season, so that's why their tier level might be a little bit affected by that. So as you can see, my role players are Darius Garland of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We got Rudy Gobert, LaMelo Ball, Zach LaVine, Pascal Siakam, Tyler Burton, Chris Paul, Domantas Sabonis, Brandon Ingram, sadly Bam Adebayo, Karl Anthony Towns. Those are the guys that I feel like you can't, and excuse my, my stuttering, but these are the guys that you can't really count on to lead your team to a 40, 50, a 500 team. They're not going to, these players solely are not going to get you to 500 at the end of the season. And it's sad for me to say that about Chris Paul, but if you saw him this season into the playoffs, he's just not the same. Father Time has definitely done what Father Time does, and he's undefeated. So, Chris Paul, few years ago, Chris Paul would probably been in that elite list. So that just tells you I don't just dislike Chris Paul, but he's just not the same guy. So in the superstar level, there's probably a few guys you guys are like, what? But I do have Zion Williamson basically because he's been in and out of the lineup. He's had setbacks. He's had just too many injuries, and he hasn't played a full season ever, I think. Even in the shortened season, I don't think he played all the games. So he's a guy that can win you games. He might even get you into that play-in tournament, just him. But he's just not the elite guy right now. He's an all-star, definitely, but and when he's on the court, he's definitely in that elite list. But he's got to be on the court, so I can't award him for for just a little bit he's done, he's got to be there throughout the whole time. He's affected whether the New Orleans Pelicans are in the playoffs or not. And because he's not on the court, they're not. So then there's Trae Young. I know some people probably would want him down a level, but when Trae's on, he's on. I know he was voted most overrated player, but he has helped the Hawks win some games. So I got to put him there. Kyrie Irving, yeah, he did help the Nets. I'm not going to fault him for all of Dallas's troubles, but he did help the Nets, and he was solid when he was out there for them. Chris Middleton, he just got to get healthy. He hasn't been a true number 2 option for the Bucks, and Giannis desperately needed him. He didn't come through in the playoffs, and we just need him to get healthy. He might move up in this rank. Bradley Beal, great player, could score at a high level, but he's not a guy that's going to get you to the playoffs or even in some capacity play in, but he's a guy that's can win you definitely win you some games. Paul George, when he's out there, he can be close to elite, but he's not quite there. You got to be on the court. When he's out there, he's a great 3-and-D guy. He can play both sides. He can affect the play wherever he's at, but he's just not. He's not that guy right now. James Harden, same thing. Even though he's been mostly healthy, he's embraced his new role, but he's just not the same James Harden he once was. He can still impact the game, as we've seen throughout these playoffs, and definitely throughout the series with Boston, but is he a guy that you can put out there and think you're going to win a series or win a championship or get high in the playoff or in the playoff rankings in your respective conference? No. DeMar DeRozan, another guy that can get you buckets, can get you wins, but can't push you over the hump. We've seen that in Toronto, seen that in San Antonio, we've seen that in Chicago. Kawhi, when healthy, is definitely elite, might even creep in the GOAT 5, but he's never healthy, and he load manages way too much. So can't put him in there. He's a superstar. We've seen he can win you a game. He can put you on his back and win you a game. And he can do it playing on both sides, just like Paul George. If we could ever get those two guys on the court at the same time healthy, we'd probably see one of the most fantastic defensive teams we've seen in a long time. But they can't do it, so oh well. Anthony Edwards, he clearly, I believe, is the superstar in Minnesota. They just got to get the right pieces around him. He's a guy that can win you games when he puts it all together. Didn't quite have it in the playoffs, but give him some time. He's going to be that guy. Jaylen Brown, he's another guy that can get you buckets, can get you wins, plays hard both sides of the court. Don't think he can do it on his own and get you to the playoffs and just take over. He needs a well-balanced team to do that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander overachieved. That OKC team was on the verge of the playoffs, so yeah, he's definitely a superstar in the making and possibly elite level. He's all NBA first team. That says it all. Young guy, sky's the limit. He'll probably step into that elite role at some point. And Jason Tatum is so fringe on the elite level, but he's very inconsistent. He can shoot you in, he can shoot you out. And I want to see what he can do when Jaylen Brown is not there. And that might be the case if what we think is true. And both are eligible for a Supermax. Boston, I don't think, can pay both guys. So somebody's got to go. I believe that person will be Jaylen Brown. Check out my video. I'll link it up here at the end so you can check it out. Maybe a trade to the Warriors might be beneficial for both teams. Now on the elite level, Ja Morant, great throughout the season, had some silly stuff going on, needs to grow up a little bit, but still elite. Had a unfortunate first round against the Lakers. We're missing their big men. Needed them, but Ja Morant still showed that he can put that team on his back and beat anybody when necessary. Jimmy Buckets, I'm glad he changed his look, but another guy that can put that Miami team on his back and just wheel them to W's. We've seen it in the playoffs. They knocked off the juggernaut that was the Milwaukee Bucks. They're now in the Eastern Conference Finals. So Yeah, he's a guy that he can affect the game in huge ways. So he's going to be elite. Devin Booker, he was part of the key to the Suns getting as far as they did. They didn't quite get it done, mostly because after the Kevin Durant trade, Durant went down. They never quite got to gel enough to make a. Even though I picked them to go far, I just thought the talent was just too much and overwhelming. But once I actually saw the team out there, they're way undersized. They need some more size. They don't have a bench. Devin Booker wheeled them over Denver twice with a little help from KD. So he's elite. Damian Lillard will definitely have to change scenery, or Portland has to go big this season. There's just he's getting older. It's great us seeing him with walk-off threes and highlights, but he's got to do something. He's got to make a deep run in the playoffs, or he's just going to be one of those guys that just never prosper. And he's too good to not get one big playoff run. So, but he's still an elite level player. If he had been healthy and if he had just a little bit, more on that Portland team, he could have himself taken them to that play-in definitely and possibly in the playoffs, but couldn't do it. Donovan Mitchell, another guy that's got to grow up a little bit, got exposed in the playoffs this year by the Knicks, by Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, but they were my sleeper team in the playoffs. They've been a sleeper team all season. They went from being, nothing basically after LeBron left to now being a solid team in the East. And a big part of that is the trade that brought in Donovan Mitchell. So he's an elite level player. He can get you wins by himself. He's just a walking bucket most of the time. Steph Curry, I won't judge him from last night because he couldn't throw it in the ocean, but Steph, definitely elite player, can get 50 on you whenever the time is right. But he's getting older. So he can't quite do all the things he used to. He used to be able to drive and shoot, so he was just a huge threat. But now his driving just ain't what it used to be. But still elite level. Warriors got some things to think about this season. Came up a little short against the Lakers, but they are older. They are the defending champs. They're going to need to really, really focus on putting together something that they can go forward with. They need some bigs, basically. Kevin Durant, I wanted to put in the GOAT, but if I have to base it off this season, we got to base it off the playoffs and just the season as a whole. He played well with the Nets when he did play. He played pretty well with the Suns when he did play, but he didn't really elevate either team. And even in these playoffs, he's had some good games, but nothing like we've seen from the KD of old. Maybe his age, maybe he's still not 100% from his injury, but I can't put him in that GOAT 5 because he just hasn't. I would say Booker was more of what got them those 2 wins in Denver than KD. So you can't be the GOAT if somebody else is doing the work, even though I'm sure some of y'all will say, well, why is somebody that's in the GOAT 5 in the GOAT 5? But that's okay. Luka, all things considered, had a great season, but had injuries, played injured some, had the unfortunate of Dallas making a big gamble and it not paying off with the trade for Kyrie Irving. They probably should have kept Jalen Brunson, who probably played a little better alongside Luka. They've got some questions to answer this offseason as well, but he's still an elite level. The guy can cook you, and he can cook entire teams by himself. So there we go. So the GOAT 5, and then you can see who the GOAT 5 are. LeBron James just got in because he just had an historic season, and I can't, even though I'm a LeBron hater, I can't dismiss that. He is the all-time leading scorer, huge deal. He took a team from 2-10, that was 13 around All-Star break, to get that 7th spot and to now be in the Western Conference Finals. He got respect that. He's 38 years old. He put the team on his back last night and actually took the game over and was one of the catalysts to why they were able to just blow out Golden State. So you got to honor that. So he's in the GOAT 5. Of course, the MVP, Joel Embiid, who's had an iffy playoffs couple rounds, has been dealing with an injury, so can't fault him there. Guy can do it on both sides. Phenomenal. Will we see his legend grow if they can get past Boston? Maybe. Right now, he's in that GOAT 5. Giannis can't take him out just because of a first-round exit. He was hurt in that first game early, had a back issue, didn't play game 2. Maybe came back a little too early. Especially lower back injuries are hard to deal with, especially if you're older. But, Giannis is still young, but still, he plays such a high-octane game that, it probably did hamper him a little bit. But he had a beastly season. The Milwaukee Bucks were, at the start of the playoffs, the best team in the NBA. So you can't fault him there. And he was a big part of it. But Middleton kind of just trying to get healthy but not quite healthy, being in and out of the rotation. Drew Holiday being okay, Brook Lopez being solid. Giannis was always the anchor and always got the job done. So he's going to go 5. Anthony Davis, probably the reason why the Lakers are where they're at right now is that man, unstoppable when he's able to play. When he puts his mind to it, he is just a complete beast. So he's got to be in the GOAT 5. I'm not a Lakers fan. I've been pulling against them, but got to give props where props are due. Anthony Davis, definitely in the top tier. But here we have the GOAT of the GOAT 5, and that is right now playoff Jokic and Nikola Jokic for the whole season. But playoff Jokic has been a beast. 30, 15, and 15. No one else has done it in the entire NBA. He did it in the playoffs. So check out I'm going to link it here to check out my video, Playoff Jokic, where I think he took the fact that they just gave Embiid the MVP instead of him before the season was over. He took that personally. He put that Denver Nuggets team on his back. The guy is a complete assassin. He can do it wherever. Has a huge, high basketball IQ. He could just, for a quarter, he can just get his players going. Then he can say, you know what, second quarter, third quarter, I'm going to just score. He can do both with not breaking a sweat and still smile. He is Tim Duncan's demeanor with Larry Bird's ability and a guy much bigger than Larry Bird. So this guy's going to be, I think could be this year's his year. I want to see how this Nuggets, Lakers, Western Conference Finals will play out, but I have a feeling he is going to, this is his coming out party, and we're going to be talking about him not just being the best center now in the current era, one of the best centers ever in the NBA. So there's my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If I can get 10 likes, I'll try to do the GOAT list. If not, I'll probably do it either way. So thank you guys for checking this out. And hopefully you'll check me out come Monday, where I will be doing my predictions for the Western Conference and Eastern Conference playoff rounds. So see you guys later, and check you out soon.